from Studio A received the best ranking and has the and have the technical competence required to provide the services for the contract. The proposed hourly fees this contract will have an annual fee not to exceed $250,000. I do want to mention that in prior to right now in this moment, LMHA has maintained two separate architectural services contracts of $500,000 each. So this is a $750,000 reduction in annual architectural work fees. And then I also want to explain that this is for general and pre-development architectural work and all architectural work associated with like capital projects within our portfolio that are not associated with a redevelopment or development. So for example, for the demolition of Dosker Manor, we will use this annual contract to develop all of the plans and specs for that demolition. But if we were to receive CDBG, we're fundraising to complete that project, then we would come back to this board to approve a budget for that project, which would include architectural fees that would be separate from this annual contract. Does that make sense? Kind of like what we did with First Link. So when we have a big development, we expect there to be, additional architectural fees that are kind of lumped into that development budget and paid for by other funding sources. And when that happens, we come to you with that separate budget and approval. So this annual contract is for all the general work and all pre-development work associated with our just regular capital projects and leading up to other larger projects. I can tell you a little bit about Studio A. They're a Louisville-based firm. They have been established for 25 years. They specialize in multifamily and affordable developments. They perform work across the United States, but extensively throughout Kentucky. Their portfolio includes more than 300 multifamily projects, over half of those dedicated to low-income housing, with deep experience in HUD, LIHTC, KHC, and other funding programs. They are demonstrated to be well-versed in the associated regulatory and design requirements, including environmental review, Davis-Bacon compliance, accessibility, energy efficiency, et cetera. They're headquartered in Louisville. They work with Genesis Engineering and Robert Pass Associates for mechanical and structural engineering, and Robert Pass is for cost estimating. So those are their subs. Some of the folks that they've worked with over the past 25 years, they've worked on over 200 projects for LDG development, 50 for the Marion Group, 50 for Denton Floyd Real Estate, among others. And among their reference letters were Knoxville Community Development Corporation, Winterwood Development, and HPI Housing Partnership, Inc. Some of the developments around town that you might have seen, I'm sure you have, that Studio A has provided architectural services for include the renovation of Chapel House apartments for Christian care communities, repositioning of the Brown Theater Tower into multifamily apartments, renovation of Northgate Towers, that's in Knoxville. But they also did HPI's Gateway project. So we just had a big tour with HUD that went over that way. So they've done a lot of renovation work. Those are just some of those renovation projects in addition to new construction. I don't think I have anything to add, but I'm happy to take any questions. No, do you have the actual spin? An MBE contract. I don't have their full proposal in front of me.
What's your question? Well, no, we're not considering it I'm saying for contracting purposes. Or, okay.
Not, I'm not saying we can't use that. We can't consider that in like scoring or ranking.
Right,
but
right, no, but I said not for schooling,
Yeah.
but just to do the right thing.
we will always do the right thing.
I suspect it's one of those two subs that they use consistently, either Genesis or Robert Pass. Oh, okay, okay. They're-
Are there any other questions? All right. We're ready for the vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, resolution 5B is now approved. We are through with our resolutions for today. We're going to move forward with our board report from our director.
About this. Okay. What I wanted to talk to you all about today is our process that we went through to set our top priorities for the coming year and how we are thinking about those. So it's been a little over a year since we released our strategic plan, and it's time to give an update to folks on that, a progress report, and also setting our strategic direction for the year. So all of what I'm about to share with you has been informed by our budget realities, which we talked extensively about in our audit finance committee, as well as at last month's board meeting. The continued progress that we've made, it's allowed us to kind of hone in on where we should be focused going forward. Numerous resident conversations and many needs assessments. We've had moving to work reboot planning sessions. So we, as you know, we're an original moving to work agency, and we have come together as a leadership team to kind of reset how we want to prioritize using those flexibilities. We've done a lot of staff engagement, including real-time polls at our last all-staff meeting, and we recently had a leadership retreat. So none of this was decided in a vacuum. And where we settled for the coming year, drum roll, please. Okay, thank you. Is financial sustainability of the agency, housing portfolio stabilization, and increased opportunities for residents and voucher holders. Those are the top three things. In our strategic plan, if you've taken a look at that recently, you'll remember that we had a lot of explanation and a lot of SMART goals, a lot of things that we needed to achieve really quickly, which I think we've done a great job on. Where I think this team excels is having really big goals that everyone can coalesce around. So an all hands on deck situation, like getting everybody out of DOSCR on that crazy short timeline, things that we can all kind of energize around. So that's why we narrowed it down to these three, even though they're all very big goals to achieve. So under financial sustainability for the agency, our goal is to achieve a balanced budget by fiscal year 29. So we just approved fiscal year 27. So this is giving us 2 years to make sure that we're not further dipping into reserves or going into the hole. We're going to achieve that by using our moving to work flexibility to serve more people with less subsidy. More to come on that. Continuing to cut costs as we've done a lot in the last couple of years, strictly monitoring departmental and site budgets and diversifying our revenue sources. So just to talk for a second about those revenue sources, as you know, we are very reliant currently on HUD funding. And our goal is to become less reliant on HUD funding, not to get less HUD funding, but for that funding to make up less of our total revenues. And as we're looking at our HUD funding, I think we've gotten much more aggressive in the last 6 months in kind of challenging. I don't mean to use such aggressive words, but in going after more HUD funds. An example is that in previous years, there's a pool of money at the federal level typically for shortfall funding. In previous years, we were told by HUD we were ineligible for public housing operating shortfall funding because we had too many reserves. This year, we were told we were ineligible for that funding, and we have a shortfall. We are absorbing a big cut in that program. We were told we were ineligible for that funding because we spent some of our reserves. And I was like, this feels wrong and unfair. So the finance and legal teams worked really, really hard to appeal that eligibility status. And it turns out HUD was like, you know what, fine, you are eligible. So we don't know how much we'll be getting, but we did get a letter from HUD saying we're eligible after all. So hopefully soon we'll find out how much we're getting from HUD. So examples like that, like when the government was shut down and the longest shutdown in history, and we needed to unlock our tenant protection vouchers, we could have just thrown up our hands and said, we'll just, I guess, wait till it reopens. But we really, a little bit made a stink until we got those TPVs unlocked during the shutdown. So that's part of our strategy, is to make sure every opportunity we have, whether it's for, applying for competitive funding through HUD or making sure that we're getting everything that we believe that we're eligible for from HUD. We also are going to be going after more philanthropic grants, and we will soon have a positive announcement on that front. Actually, I think I can announce it. Yeah, I think so. They announced it. Okay, so we received a grant from the Housing Is Group and United Healthcare to invest in our forensic assertive community treatment pilot at Avenue Plaza. So we are not forensic assertive community treatment. FACT, it's a good acronym. So that is the intensive behavioral and mental health services that we're bringing on site to Avenue Plaza. We found this opportunity. I think I got an email about it from this group called Housing Is, which is a subsidiary of the Coalition for Large Public Housing Authorities. They are a group that works with housing plus other things, housing plus healthcare, housing plus education, housing plus criminal justice reform. So we got, this email soliciting applications. Pam Bischoff wrote a great application along with the resident services team. And we were successful in getting that grant. So more to come on exactly what that's going to cover, but the first year amount will be $250,000. The second year amount is smaller than that. This is hundreds of thousands of dollars that we were able to secure in philanthropic grants to help bring residents services directly on site. So we're very excited about that.
I'm sorry, but can we celebrate that?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was embargoed, and then I think I forgot it wasn't embargoed anymore. So we should put something out about that.
It's supposed to be like.
Yes, so yes, and I think things like billing Medicaid for those services will be part of the long-term sustainability plan for that program. And in addition to the money, we're also a part of a pretty cutting-edge coalition of public housing authorities throughout the country who are doing cool things, not necessarily exactly like what we're doing, but kind of building those partnerships with people to improve residents' lives. So we're hopeful that that cohort can also help us as we look to make that long-term and sustainable. So we're really excited. Development activity potential. So you all know, you see when you're approving our co-developer agreements and all of these deals that we are getting developer fees in some of them. And so as we ramp up on our development activity, we hope to get more funds from that. And last but not least, we are actually hoping to work over the next year to establish a financing arm within LMHA. So there will be much more to come on that. But most cities our size have a local housing finance agency that issues bonds, that provides gap financing. And so more and more housing authorities are stepping up to provide that to local cities. So we will be working potentially with Louisville Metro government funding to help set this program up and get started. But certainly it's something that we hope to explore. We need to get a bond rating. We need to build our capacity, set up the right governance structures, but more and more housing authorities are going in that direction. And something that I find really compelling is that the Columbus Metro Housing Authority, which is similarly situated or was similarly situated to LMHA about 10 years ago, they went down that path. They got a bond rating. They've invested in local properties. They generate so much funds from that financing arm that they went from being 80% federally funded to 20% federally funded now. So that's the kind of thing that we can't afford not to explore that option. So more to come on that. Okay, the next big goal would be housing portfolio stabilization. So we're setting some big goals here. We want to achieve 96% physical occupancy in our public housing portfolio. Right now, our occupancy rate is pretty low. We're in the 80s. That's for a lot of reasons, and a lot of housing authorities are in that kind of situation post-COVID. And we hope to achieve 90% rent collection by August 2027. So we gave ourselves a little more than a year, but we are going to need to work across teams to make sure that we're turning over units, we're leasing up units, that all of our communities are desirable places to live so that people accept units when they're shown them from the waiting list. And then by December of next year, we hope to have complete plans. This doesn't mean the project will be completed, but we'll have complete plans to reposition our entire portfolio. So we can tell you which buildings we believe would be best suited for which programs on which timeline. And last but not least, our goal to increase opportunities for residents. We are in the process of rebooting our family self-sufficiency program. And I told you that we recently moved a lot of our resident supports teams onto sites. So we're in the process of kind of rebooting how we approach resident services. So the reboot is happening this fall. There will be more to come on that, and we hope to share that with the COPE committee very soon. We're hoping to provide housing-based case management for high-needs public housing residents. Some of that will be our own staff on site. A lot of it's going to be through partnerships like this FACT program pilot and our work with the Home for Good Permanent Supportive Housing Initiative. We hope to explore additional homeownership opportunities through our existing public housing portfolio. As you all know, we've had a very successful homeownership program using Section 8, and we hope to reopen that as soon as we are in a better financial situation with Section 8. And we also have rental properties that are currently rental that could be appropriate for homeownership and residents in those rentals that could be appropriate for the homeowner path. So we hope to explore that very soon. And last but not least, we want to make sure we're giving residents the tools they need to rent or own in the private market. So that means that their interactions with us should mirror an interaction with the private landlord in that, you know, we're holding people accountable, both our own staff and our residents, so that people think, so that when people are on our properties, it should be a similar situation than in the private market. So our next steps on this are to operationalize these goals through working groups and work streams. We want to make sure that we have clear accountability and measures so that you all can hold us accountable and follow along as we're, you know, kind of ticking up our occupancy and rent collections and all the other goals. And we need to issue a public report outlining these goals, outcomes, and timelines. So it is June. By our next board meeting, I'll have a draft of that. I just made that up. But I need a deadline. So okay. Set it on the camera.
You've said it.
You've said it. You heard it.
Okay. Any questions on those goals?
Great.
Okay.
Great.
Well, then, even greater, we'll just share that we recently had our inaugural day of service. So we spent a morning recently out on our sites. Staff went to Avenue Plaza, St. Catherine Court, Parkway Place, and H. Temple Spears, and picked up trash, served breakfast to residents, did some landscaping, some surprisingly heavy landscaping in some places. I was surprised by that, but we have some talented landscapers, I think. So we had a great time, and we followed that up with a company picnic in the afternoon. So that was a great time. Thank you. Okay, that's my report.
Oh, I'm just gonna give an applause. This, I don't know about you all, but I've been on this board for maybe, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7, 8 years, I don't know. But anyway, this report right here is everything that we have been talking about down through the years, and it's coming to fruition now. So, I mean, I almost feel like a baby. I've got tears in my eyes. Over how far we've come. And I just thank everybody that played a role in where we are today. And if it had not been for you, we wouldn't be here. And your leadership, oh my God, it's been a miracle since for us, for Louisville and for Louisville Metro government and just for Louisville communities as a whole. So I'm sorry.
Well, I know that you all went through a lot as a board over the years. So I'm glad that we're all in a better place. I really am.
This is outstanding. It's not just a report. It's outstanding and phenomenal work. It's someone that stayed to the grind you all have done. I mean, it's phenomenal. You know, when you bring in new people with new ideas and things like that, you saw that and you did it. And this is where it got us. This is amazing. And I don't know about you, but you have my 100% support in whatever you do for this community. And I would hope that we all feel the same way. So let us all applaud them one more time because they deserve it. I'm so sorry, I'm so true. No, don't apologize.
We welcome that.
Anyway, we're gonna move on.
Sometimes when you see it all in one place, it's really remarkable.
It really,
And I would say that, I mean, this team at LMHA is a world-class team
it really is.
that has, I mean, not only done so much, but had to change so much in a short period of time. I know that that's been really, really exceptionally difficult work.
Yeah.
It's a great job.
You know, we've gone from wondering where we will end up to knowing where we're going. This is totally different than what we've experienced down through the years. So, I mean, I can't tell you, thank you enough.
It's a privilege to be here.
Yeah.
Really.
So I do appreciate all of you all because you all continue to come to this table. And everything that you approve helped get us here. And just know that your work too, the things you say outside of these walls mean a lot to this community. So thank you for your work. All right? All right, now you all give this table a hand if y'all don't mind. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So at this time, we're going to move further in our agenda. I believe that's the end of everything for today, but we are going to go into our executive session because we do have a few things that we need to discuss if y'all don't mind. We're not going to do any formal business in the executive session, but we will discuss a few things that's on the preliminary status, if you all don't mind. So let us go ahead and may I have a motion to go into executive session? So, all right, may I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say